So, Stephen D here on Pure 24/7 Radio, and I am joined by Anne Laure Jackson for our magazine interview. How are you doing, Anne?
Hi, I am really well. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. So, let's start with what it is you get up to.
Well, I am a sensory specialist occupational therapist. So I have a clinic where I can work with families and adults and older people, but I also have an online service. So I work with folk around the world and communicate and help them to understand, assess, treat, manage sensory needs. So help those with sensory processing issues hopefully thrive in sensory health. So that is my passion and my purpose and what I love to help people to do.
Excellent. And so as part of that, you are able to contribute to the radio, but also to the magazine. And so what is it that inspires you in writing your latest column for the January edition?
Well, I think there are times in the year where it's really nice to stop and reflect. And with sensory health as a term that I hadn't heard about, and I created it in 2017, 2016, actually, it just came to mind thinking, why aren't people talking about sensory health? We talk about emotional health, physical health, mental health, but yet it's not in people's conversations to look at their sensory processing and to make sure that from the very foundations of our humanity, that those things, the way that we live, the things that we do, the activities that we choose, the environments that we put ourselves in through the sights and the sounds and the smells and the movements, just checking that they are as good for your sensory thumbprint as it can be. Because we're all unique, we're all made unique, we all process sensory input differently. And there's not that many people that are actually talking about this. And this is what the field that I've been in for 30 years. So I see the difference it makes to how calm, content, coordinated and confident people are. So I wanted people to have a moment to pause and to think about what does their life look like? What do they want their life to look like? How do they want to feel about life? How can they live more abundantly? How can they live their best life and look at it from a sensory perspective?
That's really good. It's something that actually does affect all of us. I know that within our family, there are certain sounds that might annoy one family member more than another. So for instance, for myself, I get annoyed by a ticking clock, but others don't. And so we might think of sensory health or that kind of thing being over there, but actually we are all affected by it. We all have, as you say, a different thumbprint for our sensory health. So it is really important and valuable to consider how it affects us, the different sounds and inputs, and how it affects others, thinking about others as well. So yeah, reflecting on that, looking into that into the new year is really valuable. So it's really good that you're able to bring that to the magazine. What would it be that you'd want people to kind of take away from the article to kind of to be like that? Be there something that you want them to think about and take away with them?
Am I allowed to? You did ask for one thing, but I'll start for the one thing because I think let's go for thinking about other people, because I want people to think about who they are and the impact on other people. That's probably the biggest thing, because it's nice to think about other people, whether it be January, the start of the year, or February as we look into just honouring others. But it should be a natural part and parcel of what we do. And I think when we put the perspectives on other people, it's easier to change who we are when we know what we do affects other people, and it can affect people negatively. So we want to be a blessing in our society, in the family life that we lead, and in the workplace that we lead. So if we can think about our own behaviors, our own ways of being, and just check, is what I do, whether I click the pen in the office, or whether I sing when I'm around the house, or whether I like to have the music blaring, how does that impact somebody else? Have a conversation with people in the family and ask them. It's really nice to do a kind of stock take of, what am I actually like to live with? What am I like to work with? And be prepared to allow other people to speak honestly and give them permission to speak honestly, but tell them they have to be kind. Okay, this is not a right, let's attack you. But it's like, how do the way that I am, how does it affect you? And it will give you some feedback if you're not already aware of your own way of being from a sensory perspective, to be able to think, right, okay, I want to be a blessing going into this new year, going through this year. I want to be a blessing for other people. How can I look at my behaviors and what I'm doing and tweak things? Whether it be, I'm going to put my headphones on so I can listen to music just for me and not bother the rest of the household. Or I'm not going to click the pen. I'm actually going to get something quiet instead to pull on, whether that be in church or in the office or at home. So think about what you do, but you may need some feedback. That's a good, a good conversation always to be had. An openness, a humility to receive feedback on how am I? What do I do? What about the sound of my the pitch of my voice, the sound of my voice? That often is something, certainly within a family, if some people can slightly change their pitch of voice, or if they start to get a little bit angry, then it's like, if you can just ease that off a bit, there'll be a lot more compliance and a willingness to work with you and talk things through with you as a family.
Okay, yeah. It's really good to have these conversations with people. I love that. Thank you so much for bringing that to us and to help people be more aware of that, to have these conversations. It could be a huge impact to people's lives, something they hadn't even really thought of. So it's really, really grateful that you could bring that to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.